Hello, welcome to another Friday. It's a Friday and the beginning of a weekend, a brand new weekend, and I guess this weekend will be awesome, beautiful. Um, my name is Bro Wachinabel. You can call me Michael. This is my Closet 101. And if you check your time, it is 9 a.m. EST. It's also 6 a.m. PST, that's Pacific Standard Time. So I'm saying good morning to all our viewers in the US, Canada, Jamaica, Cuba, Mexico, and Peru. It's 2 p.m. West African time. That's Nigeria. And also my brothers in the west coast of Africa. And it's also 3 p.m. Central African time. So I'm saying good afternoon to also um, my people in Botswana, Burundi, Egypt, Libya, Rwanda, and South Africa. It's 6:30 p.m. in India. So good evening, Asia. How are you doing? Well, today is our custom as usual to say story, but today I'm not going to be talking about an African story, but I'm going to tell a story from the Bible. But before we start, this is my Closet 101, a show that's a life coaching show that gives people the platform to ask questions. They've been locked in the closets of their minds, and they also have a one-on-one avenue to talk about problems. We don't only celebrate people's success, but we'll also talk about their failures as well. So here we have the slogan that we used: "If you're perfect, be the first to cast the stone. Do not judge, so that you should not be judged." So starting today's story with a man had two sons. A very rich, wealthy man had two sons, and these two sons were good boys, though. Then the younger one decided that it was about time he leaves his father's house to go outside and start his own life. So he met his father and told his father, "Give me my own share," telling the father it's time for you to die and split the will and just give us your will. So his father gave him his own portion, and he left. And he went to live in an extravagant lifestyle and spent all the money, women, drugs, drinking, friends, and that was it. Then he found himself broke at the end of the day, and all his friends left him. Um, After that, he was broke and wretched, and because he was in a foreign land, it wasn't easy for him. So he had to try and start a life. So he got working in a farm, and that farm he was to feed pigs. He was so broke that he had to eat the food of the pigs as well, just to be able to stay alive. Then one day he got to know himself and asked himself a question, that even the servants in his father's house, do they eat the kind of food he's eating now? And he said no, that even the servants in his father's house were far better off than this. So he decided to go back to his father and apologize to his father and ask his father if his father could give him an opportunity to be his servant instead of his son. Then he went back home. Getting home, he was planning, on the way, he was planning how to rehearse this story he was going to tell him. But from afar, the father has been watching day and night, looking out for his son, believing that one day his son will come home. And that day, his father saw him from afar, ran off to him, hugged him, kissed him. That's why he was smelling. The father wasn't bothered about that. And the father, before he could say a word, his father called out his servants and told them to to rose, wear him a ring, and also, you know, um, dress him, let him look good, and told them to kill the biggest cow for a feast, and they started celebrating. So while the other brother got home, he noticed that a party was going on and asked one of the servants, "What's happening here that, you know, everybody's celebrating?" And he said, "Your younger brother came home, and your father asked us to kill the fattest cow," and he was angry about the whole thing. So now this is where we come to the end of the story. First of all, I believe you might have learned some few things from that story. First of all, don't um, don't try to be an adult when you're still a child. One, two. The second son, that's the first. Don't try to be an adult when you're a child. Was when the second son decided to take his own portion of his will to leave the house. He was yet a child, not an adult, and decided to live like an adult. So he lost it all. Secondly, the first son that got angry that his father had to kill a big cow for his brother, was angry that his father never killed even a little sheep for him while he was there. Is you don't try to, you just understand that you own everything. When it's time, you acquire them. And for the father showed us love, so much love, so much love. He showed how he loved his sons, despite his son was wrong and did something wrong, but he still showed him love. Some of us will get offended, and instead of paying it back in love, we pay with anger. That's not good. So today's story teaches us about love and wait for your time. Welcome back to My Closet 101. Today I have a guest. She's been here last week, but I still have time to bring her on, and I'm happy she's back. And most of the IBM family actually are quite busy, but they'll soon join us on the show. Let me introduce her. She's an Amazon bestseller, journalist, an author, a motivational speaker, a podcaster, blogger, content creator, independent consultant, a teacher, educationist, and an entrepreneur. She has a bachelor degree in journalism and bachelor of arts in mass communication, both degrees at Ashford University, Associate of Arts in Journalism, and also at the Academy of Art University. She has a Bachelor of Education, Early Childhood Education and Teaching, an Associate degree in Elementary Education and Teaching, both in Colorado Mountain University. She has a lot of books she's written, which are fast selling on the Amazon, like I Win, Review, and others, just to mention a few. She has about five podcast shows, which is Axwin, Artwork from CP podcast, just to mention a few as well. Despite she was born with the cerebral palsy, pauses, she has defied the odds by achieving everything she ever wanted. She toured the country, speaking to schools and institutions to raise awareness about cerebral palsy and living a full life no matter what holds you back. She is also an advocate of veterans across the world, and her mission is to help others with physical and mental disabilities to find their voice, passion through written or spoken word using our today's technology. She speaks Spanish and English, and we on the IBMTV celebrate her. Her name is, wait for it, wait for it. Her name is Win Kelly Charles. Hello, Win.
Hi, you guys, again. And for those of you who didn't catch last week, go back and catch last week after this week. So today, I believe we are talking about more of the complexities of CP than we did last week. Last week was only a mini dose of cerebral palsy. Today, we are deep diving it.
Yes, yes. You're looking good, but I want you to tell our viewers. all over the world, from uh, New York, Africa, and also Asia. I want you to tell them good morning in in Spanish, good afternoon in Spanish, and good evening in Spanish before we start the
Well,
show.
here's the problem. I only know minimum Spanish.
All
Here's the
right.
here's the problem. So, yeah, I only know minimum Spanish enough to get by. I wish I was fluent in Spanish. That's going to be my
All right.
next project, you guys, to get fluent in Spanish because now I have a international base that, and I can easily get fluent in Spanish. It's I've been too busy to get fluent in Spanish. That's the excuse right there. Is that, but I know a little bit of Spanish and I want to get fluent in it. So in the next couple of years, I'm going to get fluent in it because I believe being bilingual is the best gift ever.
Yes, yes. For our viewers watching us, before we start off the show, I want you to please connect to us via Facebook, our Facebook pages on the IBM TV. We have a Facebook page, IBM TV. Please connect through there. Ask your questions, comments, please, and also on My Closet 101 Facebook page as well. And also drop your comments on YouTube. You can send me an email if you want of your own question that we'll talk about on the next show. So now starting off, Wayne, I wanted before we go into CP, I'd like you to tell us about the amazing team behind your podcast, your writing about you, because I know you have an amazing team that you work with. Can you just share a little bit about them?
Well, I have one person that I work with very, very closely. She happens to have CP and also be my BFF. And
All
when
right.
I started this podcast project way back when, um, 10 years ago now, I said to my BFF, hey, do you want to start a project? She goes, yes, what is it? I'm here to support. I said, well, I want to start a YouTube show. And she goes, okay. And then I said, well, what do you want to do as far as helping me out? And she goes, scheduling. And I said, okay. And so that transpired into a little green monster that I can't control called Ask Win. And then the little green monster had a baby called the artwork of CP. And then the little green monster of the artwork of CP had another baby called the amazing voices of teachers, all about the education system. And I'm going to get back to that one after I finish my journalism degree because I have learned so much as a student in the time of the pandemic because
Mm,
I am in online school myself. My
okay.
school never went to brick and mortar. It's always been online.
Yeah.
And my school actually contracted with Arizona Arizona University. So I will be graduating from Arizona University, and which is a
Wow.
phenomenal school here in the U.S.
Wow.
They the
That's great.
complexity of education have changed so much since in the past couple months. It's
Yeah.
changed so much in the
Yeah.
past couple months. that I left education at the perfect time, but now I teach in a different capacity. I just teach using my voice as a journalist and a mass communication student.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's awesome. Love that. So now, I know you talked about it last week, but I know we have new viewers. What is cerebral palsy? What is CP?
CP, CP for short, is a lack of oxygen injury at birth. And yes, it happens at birth. And CP is basically cerebral, having to do with the brain, palsy having to do with the body. And I have ataxia spastic cerebral palsy, one of the most common cerebral palsy out there. And I was never treated as if I had a disability, but always um, treated as an able-bodied person. Still am. Still get to do what I want to do. But and this is why I'm going into the journalism field as of April 4th, 2020. I will be an official journalist. I'll have my degree behind me. And I just feel like a lot of people need journalism in their lives with disabilities because the word disability is not a good term. It's more that we should think of these kids as and these adults as differently able bodied, not
Yeah.
disabled.
Mm, mm. Okay. Um, we have Bill Transvet in the house. I think yes, is a White House correspondent on the IBMTV. Is also an attorney by profession. Yes, hello, Bill. Good to have you.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and on the show we have Will Charles. She's also Amazon bestseller, and today we're talking about cerebral palsy. She has it, and she's a voice or need to educate people more about palsy, cerebral palsy. Sorry. So, sir, can you introduce yourself, please,
Yes,
to the
my name is Bill Trezevant. I'm the White House correspondent for International Broadcast Media, IBMTV. I'm an attorney by training. I cover Capitol Hill, both the Senate and the House, as well as the White House. And currently, obviously, with the American campaign in season, I've been covering that. But from time to time, I cover other issues for IBM TV. Um, and I'm glad to be on your show, and thank you. Thank you.
good to have you. Win, please. I know I have introduced you, but I want you to kindly introduce yourself again for some people that really don't know you to know you.
Well, my name is Win, and I am a journalist slash mass communications student with CP, and CP is a lack of oxygen injury at birth, and this is the topic I'm here speaking to you guys about today.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Thank you for that short introduction. Um, yeah, Wayne, I know I asked this question about CP, but according to some definition, it's said to be caused by a brain injury or problems that occur during pregnancy or birth,
Yeah,
or within the first 2 years. 2 to 3 years of a child's life. And the problem, you talked about oxygen. Yes, that's great. Some said it's problem from being born too early. That's premature birth. And another, it's not getting enough blood or other nutrients during birth. Right. So my question now is, how does oxygen really affect a child while she's in the womb that could cause CP?
Well, as I said, my assistant for my podcast got CP by having the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck. I got CP by being born early and having the amniotic sac, we believe, being broken too early. So I got CP. The way I got CP was we believe that the amniotic sac got broken way too early and sent my mom into labor. And how my girlfriend got it was a little bit of a more simpler cause. She got it because the umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck too long.
Okay, good. Now, how many types of CP do we have? Cerebral palsy. How many?
There are about over 100 types of cerebral palsy. Some mild, some severe. I have friends that have mild cerebral palsy. I have friends that have severe. My best friend and I have moderate cerebral palsy.
Yeah, yeah. I really wanted to talk to you about those that have mild and also moderate. But before I get to that question, um, who can? Yeah, go on, Bill. If you have a
Okay.
question, go on.
Yeah, when I'm curious, how has, if at all, your experience with cerebral palsy influenced your journalism?
Well, to answer your question, Bill, I think it's very influenced my perspective on journalism because it has shown me that I have a voice for a huge population that may not get a voice. So that's why I'm going in to journalism, stepping away from teaching and going into journalism.
Okay. Now, do you find that the community that you work uh, with cerebral palsy, do you find that they are underrepresented in the news?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. They are very underrepresented in the news. The only time we get mentioned in the news is when the Americans with Disabilities comes out and plays a tune. Other than that, people with disabilities don't get mentioned in the news as the United Shining Almas. Yeah, we get put in a way that uh, makes us look bad. And I've done research on this for journalism. I've typed in cerebral palsy stories. The only cerebral palsy stories that come up is people begging for money and begging for help and making us look like we are more pity parties than on God's green earth they know what to do with, because having cerebral palsy is very, 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 very expensive. And so having cerebral palsy is it turns into a big sign, and that's what gets the news on cerebral palsy. But for those of us who are in journalism and mass communications and are sitting on the sidelines, we don't get the good stories. We get the I need money, I need help stories.
Okay, so a couple of things. I understand that you're in Colorado.
Yes.
Okay, and where are you going to journalism school?
I am going to journalism school online at the University of Arizona Global, formerly known as Ashford University. By the time I get out of Ashford University, it will be the Arizona University.
Okay, so I guess and help me understand, only because for the viewers of this program worldwide, it's a particular issue. What I hear you saying, and that people don't necessarily understand, is that up till now the world has looked at not only members of the community, the cerebral palsy community, as what you, I believe, said, pity participants.
Yes.
But rather than being full human beings.
Yeah.
And that in the course of your studies as a journalist, that you're being pigeonholed to covering certain stories rather than utilizing the full breadth of your talents.
Correct.
Tell me more about that.
I'm being pigeonholed
Mm-hmm.
to deal with the disabled instead of dealing with the able-bodied population along with the disabled. People don't know that I want to be a voice for the voiceless,
Mm-hmm.
the disabled, but I also want to be a voice for the caregivers behind the disabled person, because I have noticed that some of the caregivers and don't get nice treatment. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a real catch-22 working with the disability and being on assistance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real catch-22. And I just want to help those find the assistance they need, not only help the disabled, but more importantly, help the caregivers of the disabled.
Right, and I guess is it that from your vantage point that the cerebral palsy community is larger than just the individuals that have it? It's rather the support structure. Tell me about that.
Yes, it's larger than just the individuals that have it. I mean, to give you an example, my stepmom has a full-time job. So my aide will walk in here at 9 o'clock this morning,
Mm-hmm.
be with me until 4 p.m. So, and that varies day to day. But I want to be the liaison between the disabled and their caregivers, whether their caregivers be blood related or not.
Okay. Now, have you? Are you finding it hard to create that niche, or breaking into it? I mean, do you see an area there that is that's serving the area that you want to serve, or are you,
I'm
around?
I'm it because I had to find all these services and look under every rock myself. So now I'm trying to teach others how to do this for themselves.
Okay. And could you just tell, because there may be other people that are watching this right now.
Sure.
Do you have what have you done? Do you have like a website or a location where other people can connect, or are you connected?
I do, and I will put that in the chat, and I will give it to our host here. And it's askwin.weebelize.com, and people
To be displayed.
contact me via my website, or and my assistant is very, very, very good at getting me contact information, and they can book a call with me and figure out what I should what they could do to help their disabled child.
Can I ask you another question? Because I just really want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts with regard to the upcoming election and the Biden campaign? Anything?
The Biden campaign,
or the Trump campaign? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Let's not go Mr. Donald Trump here. Let's not go. But I will give you my thoughts on the Biden campaign. And I lost my dad in 2019. But one of the last conversations we had was, who are you going to vote for? And he asked me, how do you feel about Joe Biden? I said, well, if Joe Biden is in office, I said, I'm going to vote for him because I am on assistance from the government. I am so fearful that it's going to walk away. And then I would be up to the creek without a paddle if that walked away. So my hopes are high that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden will do everything they can for not only every American, but every person on the planet. And I hope that they will keep Obamacare in place.
Mm-hmm. Now, within your community, because you obviously have a network of people, are you guys spearheading through your experience with journalism and your training to get in to actually ask the Biden campaign about their plans dealing with healthcare and all kinds of otherly abled kinds of conditions, not just necessarily cerebral palsy?
No, we are not. We are not spearheading that, and all launch silently as a journalist. I will once we're able to fly again, I will put boots on the ground in journalism in Washington D.C. if I don't see what I want to see as a disabled woman. But right now, we're not spearheading anything. And so I think I would rather march silently than do any spearheading.
Mm-hmm.
But that is something, Bill, that I'm going to put in my back pocket as to go to the Capitol, see what I can do, because I've had the honor and privilege to meet Hillary Clinton. I got and this is something that wanted me in journalism. I decided, and then what happened on 9/11 put me over the edge. And so September 11th, 2000, and in New York City when the Twin Towers went down. And so by the time I was in 7th and 8th grade, more 8th grade, I really wanted to become a journalist. I unfortunately had to go into the education system. Thank you mom for making my dreams not coming true.
Mm.
But now I'm back to my true passion, and I love it every day.
Good.
Have you? Because I know that Hickenlooper is running out there. For the former governor, as you know, of Colorado.
Yes.
Does he have a policy or a plan? Have you been to the press conferences and engaged him, or?
I haven't been to the press conferences and engaged him, but I know I could get involved in 2 seconds flat if I wanted to.
Mhm.
It's just I try to keep politics out of the spotlight, but if politics was something that I needed to go into as a disabled journalist to fight for my rights, I would in 2 seconds flat. I mean, I no. This is getting to the point of craziness where disabled are not getting treated equally. They're getting fired left, right, and center because of their jobs. They have to make ends meet on Social Security. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. So I try and leave politics out of the equation. But if worse comes to worst, I will beat the feet up to Washington and see what I can do.
Well, can I ask you this? Just to pivot for a moment. I'd like you, if you'd like to, share with those that are watching when you. How do you go about when you're pigeonholed and they only assign you to certain stories to cover? How do you go about explaining to them that you want to cover a different story and that you want to broaden your skills as a journalist? Tell us how you do that.
As of April 2022, I'll make the biggest stink I can about not being pigeonholed because so many people, I have so many supporters of me going back to journalism school. It's not even funny. I have Facebook supporters who go, when it's time for you to get out of school, we need you on the beat because we need you to not only represent teachers, but not only represent your former profession, which is teachers, but we need you to be a voice for the voiceless. I need you to help me with my disabled child and let you be the disabled liaison in the IEP meetings, individualized education plan meetings. And so I journalism right now is going to be a little, and that's my website, by the way. Um, Journalism right now is going to be a little bit of a interesting experience, but once I get out of journalism school, it's going to be I'm going to hit the ground running.
Okay. Now, can you take us through your website if you can for the viewers?
For the viewers.
Yeah, just describe what we're looking at here.
Basically, what you're looking at is my bio and basically my consultant work, and then all you can see is where to subscribe to all my podcasts and where to subscribe to my work.
Okay, so if we can scroll down on the screen on her website, please. Yeah, what portion is the most important? I see to be a guest on Ask Win podcast. What should the viewers be looking for on your page?
I would say, well, if you really want to get a deep dive about what cerebral palsy is, I would say that you should subscribe to the podcast and learn how to subscribe to a podcast. If you click on those two videos,
Okay. If the videos right here to the right of the three that I see.
videos right here, the videos right there,
Uh-huh.
click on that one.
Okay.
And then that's going to teach you how to subscribe to a podcast.
Okay. And so that's where our viewers can go when they want to get in touch with you. So they would start here.
And then my assistant will get emails to me about people wanting to be on my podcast / talk to me about the journalism field.
Okay. Fantastic. And then if we go back to your website proper, if we exit the video, your contact information is on your website. Yeah, can we go back to the website, please? All right. Okay, and I believe is it lower down on your website or is it up at the top, your information?
It's up at it may be lower down. It's probably up at the top.
Okay, let's go up to the top and see. Okay, nope, I think a little further up top. Okay. Now, I see this is the contact information. Is Danielle Coulter.
Is my assistant, and she would be able to get the emails to me / the phone calls to me. Because I'm so busy, I just assign everything to her. That's the way it's gone for years. But she has my phone number, and people are welcome to call me. They're welcome to email me. They're welcome to email Danielle about being on the podcast.
And if I could ask, Wynn, what else would you like our viewers to know?
I would like the viewers to know that most people with a disability can hold a college degree. That drives me nuts when people say, "Oh, Wynn, why are you going back to college? Why are you getting another degree in journalism?" And because I want to prove people wrong, I want to prove that people with disabilities have a voice and they might need help, but they still have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
They still have a voice. It's not like they need help and they're bedbound. It's just they need help with everyday tasks, some more than others, but they still have a voice.
And that's very important. You know, it seems to me that, you know, there are a number of people around the United States, not just with specifically with cerebral palsy, but a number of different types of other abilities that might feel the same as you. The various other communities being pigeonholed and looked at as if you can't do something, rather than and saying to you that you shouldn't do something, when what I hear you saying is that you can and you want to. Am I correct there?
Yes, you are correct. I just have to be very careful how I do it. But basically, this will be right now going is my full-time job. But as of April 2022, journalism will be my full-time job.
But Wayne, are you? I hope you're not only trying to hold on to only the US, but also to all parts of the world. Because, like, I believe we have this in Nigeria, but they don't have a voice. So, is there any way you're reaching out to other people all over the country, all over the world? Sorry, apart from
Through my
the
podcast,
US,
through my
through your
podcast,
podcast, have you
my
had? Yeah, go on.
my podcast is listened to in Nigeria. It's listened to in China. It's listened to in the U.S. It's listened to all over the place, and I just want to make a global impact because, as Bill and I were talking about earlier, most people with disabilities are not living the life I'm living. Most
Yeah,
people with disabilities are hidden away.
yeah, yeah. And how many people have you tried getting from Nigeria? Are there good responses from Nigeria? People of the same disability getting to you, you educating them more on how to have their voice.
Well, I try. I try.
Okay.
My show is an interview based show, and I can have international li- listeners and international guests. I just try to inspire everyone to put one foot in front of the other.
Okay. Having you on this show, honestly, I've really not told you this. When I ran into your contact on your bio online, I was motivated. I know it's gonna be pissing you off, but I don't want you to get pissed off because
Ah,
Will, I want you to understand this. Some of us that are not disabled have this disabled mindset. You
oh,
understand? In the sense that, yeah,
yeah.
they feel because
Oh,
things
yeah.
are, yeah, people that probably things are not moving on well with them. They feel rejected. They feel they don't deserve to live on earth. But if someone like you, despite your challenges, but stood your ground to say no and turn it around to do things that able-bodied people can do, wow, I think it will really touch someone to wake up from that sleep. Another thing that really got me was when I looked at your website. When I did an on-the-ground study, checked profile on your bio. I was amazed at your degrees, what you've achieved, and I said, yes, I must put you on the show to wake some people off their sleep. And I really want to celebrate you, and I don't want you to get pissed by it because you're really making a voice, and I know your voice will go far, more than what it is now.
Well, I try. I try. And as I said, I also try and leave politics out of the equation. But as I said to Bill, if I need to go up to Washington D.C., it will it will be my great pleasure to meet with Congress in person to prove that people with disabilities are human.
Win, if I may, um, I it has been a real pleasure meeting you this morning. Um, I really dig everything you're doing. I really do, and oftentimes the struggle merely to open up people's minds to get them to look at the world differently is half the battle.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is this is that if you ever need anything, you can always reach me through IBMTV, and I'd be more than willing to help and assist offline and whatever it is, Win. But you have a great smile. Let me see it again. See that? See that? And
Wow.
that is the
Yeah.
optimistic
True.
spirit when as we move forward, because it's always a challenge. When, and I know you know that, but I have to step away and do something else. But it's my pleasure, Win. And contact me. My name is just Bill. See?
I appreciate that. And maybe Bill can put your email address in the chat, because now that you are now that I know who you are, I may be calling you to do a little bit for the disabled in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Consider it done. And that is my personal information. Direct to me.
Thank
you, Bill.
This in my name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Win, thank you. I do have to step away, but it was a pleasure meeting you, and you have my information. And so, listen, one step in front of the other every day, and that's why we form a more perfect union.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
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 And it's giving voice to the voiceless, and that's why we're the fourth branch of government.
Yep. Yep. So.
Okay. A pleasure.
Thank you, Bill.
And thank you.
I hope to see more of you. I hope to see more of you on my show, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, Win, contact me whenever you need anything.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. So, Will, back to you. We're talking about more about CP, because I know some people. You really got me to want to know more about this, and I've done studies, and honestly, you've just woken my eye, but I know some people really want to know more about CP. So, is it curable?
No, it's not. No, it's not. They've done enough research about CP until we're blue in the face, but they have not done enough awareness about CP, and no, it's not curable, and no, but CP can't get worse. It's not genetic. I could have, if I choose to do so, I could have kids and they could be completely able-bodied. My body just couldn't carry kids. So that's why I have decided that I don't want to risk bringing another human being into the world. But no, CP is not curable, and they have done. If you guys look up United Cerebral Palsy, and they have done more cerebral palsy awareness, that they have done more cerebral palsy research than awareness over the years, and I haven't dug deep enough into the studies, but I think the awareness is despicable, and I just want to be a voice for the voiceless.
Okay, because actually I ran into an article from, just borrowing it from eurostemcell.org. It said studies are only in the very early stage of examining how these stem cells might be used to treat cerebral palsy. There are currently no approved stem cells treatments for cerebral palsy. Researchers think stem cell treatments might help to restore some function to patients. Do you think stem cells can really help as well?
I have been blessed with the opportunity of going to getting stem cells myself, and I know where to get it. I know where to get it, but it's certainly not the closest place I could get it is where my mom grew up now, and it's certainly not ESCO in the U.S. And when I was first approached, I was actually approached by a friend of mine who happened to have a different disability than I do, and she wanted me to go to India to get stem cell research. Well, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to a foreign country to get
Stem cells.
stem cell research, but I will go to once it becomes in the US, I will try it. I will try it, but it has stem cells has to be tested more and more before I become a guinea pig for it. Because Win isn't a guinea pig. Win wants to be a voice for the voiceless,
Yeah.
and even though stem cells will help me tremendously, it well, be I just have to be careful what I do and careful how I say it. But once it comes to the US and Medicaid covers it and all that good stuff, I will um I will look into it again. I have looked into it, but um I am not necessarily going to a foreign country to get my body worked on. There's no way on God's green earth I will go to a foreign country to get my body worked on.
I understand. I understand. Um, okay. Can CP be linked to mental illness? Like, some
Yeah,
people with CP can also get depressed and have this untreated
yes,
anxiety.
yes, that
Okay.
is a definite yes.
Wow.
And what I recommend is that people who feel depressed during this time of being in a world pandemic, I um I recommend they go to a website called therapyforblackgirls.com, and there's a full list of in the states of registered counselors, and I am a huge proponent of counseling because I've done it myself and I still do it. And so I am a huge proponent of counseling. I am super lucky that I don't get depressed that often. I'm not on any medications for for CP, but I am on medications just to keep me healthy, but nothing having to do with CP.
Yeah, because I really wanted to ask you if there are medications to take for CP,
Oh
palsy.
yes, yes. The
Okay.
most common one is something they call baclofen, and what CP does is it causes muscle spasms and high tone. And what baclofen does is that baclofen is a muscle relaxer enough so it relaxes the tone and relaxes the muscle spasm. I probably had since talking to you and Bill, I probably had 1,000 muscle spasms just this morning dealing with my own body.
Wow.
And now you can't see those muscle spasms, but I can certainly feel them. And so what baclofen does is it's a muscle relaxer,
Yeah.
but it also makes you feel like a walking zombie, at least for me. So that's why I got off it in 2009. And if I was still on it, there was going to be no way that I would be doing the work I was going to be doing.
Okay, so meaning that meds for it, it's not really that good for some people because it's not really good for you. But are they food you eat? Kind of foods you eat to that keeps you and helps relax your muscles?
Um, that I haven't really dug into. I
Okay,
am on a plant based diet, but I haven't really dug into the foods that help cerebral palsy.
okay, okay, okay. Just accent. And how do you relax your muscles?
One trick that I use,
Yeah,
and I have a bad back too, and the pandemic is certainly not helping. The pandemic is made it worse for all of us, including those of us with disabilities. And
yeah,
so, um, so one trick that I use is listening to music. They've done studies on cerebral palsy, dementia,
yeah.
Alzheimer's, and music, and simply listening to music puts me in a whole different head space and relaxes my muscles enough so I can function.
Okay. Um, while reading, I noticed cerebral palsy. It's kind of painful, right? Pains. You have pains on your muscles.
Yeah,
Now, are there exercises you can do to help ease them off as well?
yeah, they
Okay.
all.
Like, can you share them?
I can,
All right.
but the physical therapy I'm doing is alternative. And if
Okay.
you look up if all you do is, and you both look up the Bridging Bionics Foundation and look up Amanda Boxtel, and I'm actually going to give you her contact information
Okay.
so you can
Yeah.
bring her on and talk to her about her foundation
Yeah.
because even though her foundation is local to me, um, I have walked in a bionic exoskeleton suit. I've done it all. And so basically, with the gyms being closed, how I get my exercise is walking up and down a flight of stairs.
Okay.
That is
Wow.
how I get my exercise and
Wow.
walking up and down a flight of stairs because um, that is how I get my exercise.
Wow. Okay. That's good. That's good. Then, um, while growing up, does CP get worse with the age?
See, CP can, but my CP hasn't, and um, it's because you lose collagen over you lose collagen and you lose muscle mass over the time span of your years. And so CP can, I just happen to control it in the ways that I want to control it.
Okay. Now, I don't want you to get offended, but I need to know this because most times after meeting you, I got to do more studies. Can someone with cerebral palsy go into a relationship? Can they get married? You've told us
Oh
they can have kids.
yeah, they can go into a relationship. Oh yeah. Um they can go into a relationship. I just happen to be a member of the LGBTQ community,
Yeah.
and but most people with cerebral palsy can go into a relationship, and we can live a fully normal functioning life with help.
Yeah, well, good, good, good. And you know some that are into relationships? How are their
Oh yeah,
relationships like? Can you share?
I have seen, funny enough, people with cerebral
Yeah.
palsy land up dating able-bodied people, and
Wow,
people
that's
with
nice.
physical disabilities land up um, dating able-bodied people. And so when it comes to relationship status, yes, we're just the same as everyone else.
Okay. Okay. Talking about mild and moderate cerebral palsy, I read where it said that it can be managed as after some period of time, um, it can go off. That's the symptoms could disappear. And I was like, wow. So, can you talk about a little bit about the mild CP?
The mild CP. Well, the
Yes.
mild CP, you can barely even notice. The mild CP, I have friends with mild CP, and you can barely even notice they have CP. If and now I can spot a person with CP out of a crowd in 2 seconds flat. So
Wow.
I know the CP, I know the disabilities, and so I um I know how to spot CP, but when it comes to my old CP, you can barely even notice.
Wow. Like borrowing articles from the American Pregnancy.org, it said in some children with cerebral palsy, especially those who are mild affected, brain imagining test shows no abnormalities, suggesting that microscopically some areas of brain damage can cause symptoms. About half of babies who are diagnosed with mild CP appear to outgrow their symptoms. Now, this question goes, what is the rate of children having CP, and
Uh,
especially in America or in the world, if you have an idea?
the last numbers I looked at are 1,000 babies are born, one of 1,000 babies are born with CP. And as I said last week, I was very, very lucky to be diagnosed um, at in the early stages of my CP. Most kids with CP are not diagnosed, and this is the part that drives me nuts. And this is going to be the part that I'm going to actually talk to Bill about, because most kids with cerebral palsy are not diagnosed until they're not hitting their milestones in preschool, and then you have to go round robin to find out what their diagnosis is.
So how can someone really what's okay, sorry, because I'm trying to pick out that question. What At what stage can someone really diagnose it? Is it when the baby is born, or probably few months, or about a year, or about when?
Uh, well, if you have a smart enough doctor like I did, I'm
Yeah.
very, very lucky. They can um, diagnose it when the baby is born. But typically it comes when they're a year.
Okay. Um, how can children with mild CP outgrow their symptoms?
Uh, a lot of exercise and a lot of
Okay.
love and compassion. You have got to take the child as they are, because CP is CP and can't get worse and can't get better. And so this mild cerebral palsy outgoing system, it's going to be exercise.
Okay. So now, there's this question I want to ask, but I need to share the story with you. While growing up, I had a friend. He was actually my classmate, but also a friend, and we noticed that while growing up, he was kind of, let me say, dull. Lads, academically, he was kind of dull. That he wasn't that bright. You understand? And
Oh, oh
yeah,
boy, if you're going to use the word that I think you're going to use, don't use it with me.
no, no,
Don't
no,
use
no,
it on this show. That would irritates me, and it begins with R. And do not use it in front of any disabled person. Go ahead. I just needed to interject my soapbox.
okay, fine. I just wanted to know if there was any connection with that, but let me skip that. Let me skip that.
Mental
Just
disability? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have a brain bleed on top of cerebral palsy. Mental disability is going to be connected with any type of disability, including cerebral palsy.
no, because why I was trying to ask that question is in school he was as if he was not doing well in academics, but when we got to secondary school, like high school, he peaked and he was doing well. You understand? So when I was doing my research, I was
Well, it could change considering how much support is given to the child.
yeah, because I wanted to know if that was mild CP when we're younger. I wanted to know if there was a connection. If that was mild CP when we're younger, then as he grew, he had to just peak and got healed. That's why I'm asking.
Well, depending on how much support the child is given at home and in the educational setting, their mental status could change.
Now, my question is for children with CP, what would you, okay, now, children with CP, what will you say they should be that, okay, what will you say can help them in school, like other children, parents, people around to do to support children with cerebral
Well,
palsy?
in in the American school system, we
Yeah,
have something called an individualized education plan, IEP, which
yeah,
needs to be
yeah,
looked at and needs to be put in place for those
yeah,
who have dyslexia, for those who
yeah.
have cerebral palsy, for those, yeah, but the special ed system needs to be put upside down again because upside right, because every single time we go into the special ed system, it's like we're not doing a good job
Mm, mm,
because teachers don't know how to support their kids. I mean, I've spoken to retired educators slash educators in the classroom, and especially now during the pandemic, um, it's yeah. So especially now, the disabled um, are getting interested responses to their academic needs.
okay. I'm about wrapping this show, but I like to ask this very question before I want you to share your social media handles. Um, there are things, the do's and the don'ts right, on for people that are disabled. And Win, thank you very much, because last week I had to learn some which I'm applying. Now I was reading and I saw something like copied from ability, borrowed from abilities.com. It's about meeting and greeting someone with CP. And I read about the do's and the don'ts, and this really got my attention. Avoid leaning on his or her wheelchair, sorry. Avoid leaning on his or her wheelchair. And I really wanted to ask this question. Now, able bodies, you know, they love leaning on each other. I don't know if you understand what
You're
I
not
mean.
allowed to do that now. You're not allowed to do that in
Okay.
the US now during
Yeah.
the pandemic. And now you're not allowed to lean on people, give them a hug. You're supposed
Mm,
to stay 6 feet apart. So for those who lean on chairs, that's a no during a pandemic.
wow. Yeah. Yeah. Then another thing that really caught my attention was it said another one says if you need to talk about their cerebral palsy, refer to them as a person with cerebral palsy.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, don't refer to them as a person with a disability. Stick with the situation at hand and stick with the subject at hand. And please do not call them the all word. Please don't call them mentally the all word. I hate that word.
Hmm. Hmm. But talking about that, okay, how do I really do this? Because I really don't want to offend anybody or get you pissed. I hope you understand what I mean. So how do I
Yep.
refer you as someone with cerebral palsy? How?
You could say Win has cerebral palsy. This is the person who's helping her, is her aide. And don't
Okay.
necessarily go towards the aide, go towards the person with a disability.
Wow. All right. All right. All right. Thank you, Win. Last question before you go. If you use the idiom that highlights their disability, relax. Do you have an idea about that? Using idioms that highlights your disability, like telling you to let's go for a walk. Do you get pissed with that?
Do I get pissed when people ask me to go work out? No, I just
Yeah,
do it because of the pandemic right now.
I know. Just before the pandemic, that's what I'm asking.
I know. I have always worked out all my life.
Okay, okay. So, sorry. Last question before you go. This is definitely last. How did you cope during the lockdown when
Mm,
there was this coronavirus lockdown? How did you cope, and how did you? And yes, before you go, add this also. How did you help get yourself off depression? Because people with CP, most of them, or I believe 50 to 60% of them get depressed. How did you get off depression? How do you manage getting off it? How did you get
I
yourself?
I delved straight. How did I deal with the lockdown? I delved straight into journalism. I
Yeah,
was lucky enough to travel um, a week before the pandemic
pandemic, all
lockdown.
right.
And so I went on my business trip, came home, realized I didn't have a job, delved straight into journalism. And that's what I've been doing for the past couple months as we do this lockdown.
Hmm. All right. Um, I'd like to share this for our viewers and audience. Please support Win in our mission by donating to Win Podcast. You still have your t-shirts. Can they still buy your t-shirts?
I do, and I would prefer them to go listen to the podcast, and I would prefer them to learn how to set up a podcast via me, and then
Yeah.
I would prefer them to just interview me because I have decided that it's going to be a 50-50 split between me being interviewed and me being the interviewer.
Okay, so viewers, you can still support by buying her t-shirts. Axel, subscribe to her podcast channels, log into her website. And before you go, Wayne, just one more time, tell us about your website, share your website and your social handles as well, where people can really meet you and also your podcast. Go ahead, please.
AskWin.WeBelieve.com and
Yeah.
the podcast are the amazing voices of teachers, Ask Win, and then the artwork of CP.
And would you want people to follow you on social media?
They can follow me all over the place. They when you go to my website, all my social media handles are on there, and then they can follow me all over the place.
All right. Good to have you. Um, actually, Wayne, I'll be expecting to have you again anytime soon, but not anytime soon, but soon. Let me put it that way. But I'll still have you, and I'll still send you a mail because we need to talk
Yeah.
about the other
Oh
project.
yeah. Oh yeah. You can still send me emails. Trust me. And so yeah, and I enjoyed it, and I hope to work with you guys again soon.
All right. Good to have you. Good, good, good,
Thank
good.
you guys. Bye.
Right. Now, for viewers, for you joining us, I hope you enjoyed today's show. At least I believe some of us would have learned about cerebral palsy and how to have them in our society because the way we really look at them, some of us don't really respect them, we don't care for them, we don't pay attention to them. So please, I hope today's show has really made you understand, learn, so that when you see them, you just try and be their friends. You meet them, get to get along with them and help them. But don't show them pity. They really don't like it. To them, it's really embarrassing. So, ending the show today. Don't forget to send us your questions, your experiences in life that you want us to discuss here, and we promise not to disclose your identity. So you can send an email to mindcloset101@gmail.com. You can also send us your messages on our Facebook page, My Closet 101 at Facebook page. Also, on our Facebook page on the IBM TV, you can send us a message, but also address it to the producer, My Closet 101, or the executive producer, Mind Closet 101, and it will get to us, and we'll talk about we'll talk about it on our show live, and we'll not disclose your identity. And you can still follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram at Brown Watching Melu. And you can also send me your messages there if you want to. And listen to my podcast, 3 Minutes with Jesus. Yes, on every podcast platforms. Yes, iTunes, Google, Overcast, Pop Radio. Check me out. And before you go, I need to share this proverb, African proverb that goes: "A chick that grows into a cock can be spotted the very day it hatches." That's a chick that grows into a cock can be spotted the very day it hatches, and it means you can easily foresee the future of something through the character and the telltale signs it exhibits today. Yes. So please mm, meditate on that this weekend and don't touch that dial. Next is Med Friday. So just switch over and continue with us because it's already on now. and I'm going there too. So join us on Med Friday. So don't forget our programs. Monday, it's Economic Monday. Radio talk show with Mark Lee. Don't miss it every Monday. On Tuesday is World News COVID-19. Celeb Tuesday, Chess Without Borders starts with Jim Ed. So if you want to know more about chess and learn chess moves, join and know more about chess stars. Don't miss it on Tuesday. On Wednesday, Startup Wednesday and with Wednesday. Thursday is Podcast Thursday. So if you're trying to get to be a podcaster, you want to learn more about podcasts or want to be a podcaster, join us on Thursday, every Thursday on Podcast Thursday. I do join as well, so you can join me there. Friday, it's Financial Friday and Mind Closet 101, and also Met Friday. It's going on live now. Saturday is Spiritual Saturday. Chess Stars with Sasha. Stars, yeah, with Sasha, yeah. Saturday DJ Live. If you like music, you can join and party with us. During this lockdown, there'll be no more clubs and parties, so you could just join us and get to hear new musics every Saturday. And we also have Starry Saturday. On Sunday, Super Sunday, and the Alexandra May Cafe. If you're an artist, a music artist, or you're a music lover, you could join us, watch a show, and get to know more. Till we meet next week, same time, same station, 9 a.m., 6 a.m., 3 p.m., 2 p.m., and 6:30 a.m., 6:30 p.m. I still remain your host, Brown Watching and Mello of Michael is a 101. Do have a beautiful and fabulous Friday. And remember, stay safe. Always have your masks on. God bless. Till see you next week. Bye. Signing out.